Imagine thinking you got away with everything, until the judge presses play on a secret video that no one knew existed. This isn't just a courtroom hearing. It's a collision between arrogance and truth, a moment where power is stripped bare under the cold light of a hidden camera. Before we dive in, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe right now to True Crime Uncovered, because what you're about to hear is something you won't forget. The case that brought the small town of Riverbend, Texas to a boiling point seemed, at first, like nothing special. A fraud case. A local businessman accused of siphoning money from his own employees' retirement funds. The defendant? Richard Hallstrom, 52 years old. Well-fed, tall, with a politician's smile and the arrogance of a man who thought rules didn't apply to him. He wasn't just a boss. He was the president of a construction supply company that had built half the housing developments in Riverbend. People called him untouchable, but the state called him something else, a thief. The prosecution claimed Richard had embezzled nearly $2.4 million from company accounts, covering it up through false invoices, ghost employees, and forged signatures. His defense? That it was all a misunderstanding, accounting errors. He blamed it on sloppy bookkeeping and overzealous regulators. The trial began like many others. Stiff suits, tense witnesses, jurors shifting in their chairs. But no one in that room, judge, jury, or audience, was ready for the footage that would change everything. It started with Lisa Torres, a former employee. She took the stand trembling, her hands clenched in her lap. Lisa had worked for Richard for 12 years as a bookkeeper. He told me to sign documents I didn't understand, she testified, her voice cracking. And when I asked questions, he told me, don't think too much, just do what I say. The defense attorney, slick-haired Michael Drake, smirked as he cross-examined her. Miss Torres, he said smoothly, isn't it true you were fired for poor performance? Isn't it true you're testifying out of spite? Lisa shook her head, tears forming. No. I'm here because what he did was wrong. Her words rang hollow in the sterile courtroom, drowned out by Drake's polished attacks. It seemed like Richard might actually walk free. But then came the turning point. The prosecutor, Angela Monroe, a sharp, relentless woman in her 40s, rose with a calm that concealed the storm she was about to unleash. Your Honor, she said, the state has recently obtained additional evidence. With the court's permission, we'd like to introduce it. Judge Evelyn Harper, a silver-haired veteran of the bench known for her no-nonsense demeanor, adjusted her glasses. Proceed, Ms. Monroe. Angela wheeled in a small cart with a monitor. The defense scoffed. Richard himself leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, exuding smug confidence. But when the screen lit up, his posture changed. The footage was grainy but clear enough. It was a hidden camera feed, time-stamped late at night, inside Richard's own office. There he was, Richard Hallstrom, leaning over his desk, speaking to someone off-camera. His voice filled the courtroom. Make sure Torres signs the damn forms. She doesn't need to know what's in them. Just tell her it's for payroll adjustments. The gallery gasped. Lisa, sitting nearby, covered her mouth with her hands. The video continued. Richard chuckled. They're too stupid to figure it out anyway. By the time anyone notices, I'll be long gone. The silence that followed was electric. You could hear the hum of the monitor, the soft shuffling of feet as jurors sat forward, eyes wide. Judge Harper tilted her head, her expression unreadable. Mr. Drake, she said coolly to the defense attorney, would you care to explain this? Drake stammered. Why, Your Honor, we were not made aware of this recording. Its authenticity. It's authentic, Angela snapped, producing a sworn affidavit, obtained legally from a whistleblower who installed the camera after repeated threats from the defendant. Richard's face turned pale. For the first time in the trial, his mask cracked. He leaned forward, whispering frantically to his attorney, his hands shaking. The courtroom was alive now, buzzing like a hornet's nest. A juror whispered, "My God!" Another scribbled furiously in their notes. And then Judge Harper raised her gavel. Bang! Order! The footage rolled on. In another clip, Richard was seen laughing over wine with his 2 lieutenants. The employees? They'll never know what hit them. Retirement funds are the easiest target. No one checks the numbers until it's too late. He clinked glasses with his companions, a sick toast to greed. The room was boiling now. The smug businessman everyone thought was untouchable had been caught in his own words. His own face staring back at him from the screen. What followed was the unraveling of a man. The defense tried to object, to claim the footage was taken out of context, but the damage was irreversible. Witnesses were recalled, and now their testimony carried the weight of undeniable proof. Lisa Torres, once trembling, now sat taller, vindicated. Her eyes locked on Richard with quiet strength. Neighbors from Riverbend filled the benches in shock. Some had worked for him, others had trusted him. Now they muttered under their breath, anger simmering. He stole from us. All those years. The cross-examination became brutal. Angela Monroe leaned in on Richard during his testimony. Mr. Hallstrom, do you deny that is you in the video? He shifted uncomfortably. I don't recall that night. You don't recall laughing about stealing from your employees? I was joking, he snapped. Joking about destroying people's futures? The jury glared at him. His words hung heavy, hollow. And then, the final blow. Angela produced one last clip, one even more damning than the rest. Richard, slurring slightly, spoke directly into the camera. Even if they catch me, I've got Drake in my pocket. Money talks, baby. Justice? Justice is for the poor. The courtroom erupted. Gasps, murmurs, even shouts of anger. Judge Harper's face hardened like stone. Enough, she declared. The jury will disregard the defendant's delusions about this court, but they will remember the evidence. At that moment, Richard knew. His empire of lies had crumbled. His arrogance, his untouchability, gone. The verdict came swift and decisive. Guilty on all counts. When the judge read the sentence, 25 years in federal prison, there was no sympathy left in the room. Lisa Torres wept, but this time with relief. Other victims nodded, justice finally in sight. Richard sat frozen, his once perfect suit now drenched in sweat, his hands gripping the table as deputies cuffed him. The man who thought he could outwit everyone was now just another inmate. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Neighbors spoke with raw emotion. He acted like a king, one said. Turns out he was a coward. Another, shaking her head. That hidden camera saved us all. And as the story spread on TikTok, on YouTube, across the evening news, it became more than just a case. It became a warning. A warning that arrogance blinds, that greed destroys, and that no one, not even the so-called untouchable, can escape the truth. The moral is this: cameras don't just capture faces. They capture who you are when you think no one is watching. And when the truth finally plays, the whole world is watching. If you want more gripping true crime stories like this, cases that expose lies, greed, and shocking courtroom moments, make sure you hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe right now to True Crime Uncovered. Because justice doesn't whisper, it roars.